exactly 9 a.m. on Solstice. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all who are joining live on this extra sacred day. And, I've got a whole, you could see on that webpage, there's a variety of topics. Any one of those things is amazing. And so it's really cool that we get to celebrate the convergence of all the light that's coming into the planet. So this particular gathering is focused on solstice. Solstice is super old as humanity itself, and often associated in the Wiccan tradition, Yule. And really what we get to be reminded of is the cycles of life. At least with Yule, it's the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. And I know there's folks in the northern and some southern hemisphere here, so we'll straddle the idea of the darkest day of the year and preparing for transformation in the southern hemisphere. So what I wanted to start off with was just to give our minds a little bit of something to make sure everybody's muted so I don't hear myself. Give our minds something to kind of chew on, because I find that our mental programming, our mammalian brain, which we'll get to later, can kind of get in the way a little bit. So as I mentioned, this is a age-old holiday. And I wanted to bring our attention to a couple different spots that many of you guys likely know. I'm starting to share first. This is Tulum, Mexico. So of all the megaliths around the world, there's a handful of them that are specifically, summer solstice, and a handful that are specifically winter, and then some of them converge. Tulum has the winter solstice, the sun's rising right through the peak of the pyramid. So I just wanted to sort of put that on our radar, and I'm going to share three more places with us so that we can really get the sense of how sacred this day is. This is New Grange, and this is known as a burial site. And on the winter solstice, let me show you what happens here. It's pretty amazing. The light comes through this little shaft in this mound cave that our ancestors built, and it actually ends up illuminating the entire inside of first it goes through this walkway, and ancients built these sites specifically to connect to the sun on this day. So I just want to set the tone that we're doing this. We don't have to be at a megalithic site.
I'm going to turn this down.
Make sure everybody's muted. Hey guys. We don't have to be at a megalithic site. And in fact, I was looking at Stonehenge, and I'll put a link so that you guys could watch the video recording of Stonehenge. You can't be at things live, very likely, right now. But then let me show you, there's also this one last view of New Grange with the writing on the wall and just how the light illuminates this ancient burial chamber for these people. So there's one more, well, there's two more. Look, I'll really quickly touch on, I hope I pronounce this right, Maeshowe. This is also an ancient burial chamber. I believe this is in Scotland. I'm not sure. It's somewhere in that area. And so this chamber lights up on one day of the year. That day of the year is today. And so
whoa,
we won't get too far into what that means, because I'm not an expert on it, but this is the light coming through the shaft for Maeshowe. And so then we're going to just hop over. There's a list. If you Google around, you can just see that so many of our ancient cultures knew about this day. So let's get to Stonehenge, which I think is probably the most commonly known today. It's interesting. So Stonehenge is built for the winter and the summer solstice. And this particular view that we're looking at, obviously, is in winter. And this is the view of, to my understanding, the sunrise. And it rises it actually doesn't go like a T like you would expect it to, like a clock. They built it a little bit so that it was more back like an altar. The back circle, it was like a T, but maybe 80 degrees instead of 90 degrees. So the whole back side is this altar and this shrine, and the sunlight bathes the back of Stonehenge. So this is, I think, where we can probably most collectively focus our energy, because it's probably something that many of us have at least heard of if we haven't been able to visit it. And I want to share next, this is what normally happens at Stonehenge on this day, although today they did it virtually. This is all the people there, whether they're, you know, Druids or Celts or just people who know that this is a sacred site. So I mentioned that the sun will rise and then set today, and where it sets today is actually where somewhere near in the summer solstice it actually is going to rise. So the idea is that it's aligned with the sun to harness the sun's energy, and whether or not we know what all the rest of those stones are, it's worth kind of just connecting to this site. So let me put up one more photo for us as we get started on this solstice part of the journey. So this actually, now before I'm going to give us this is the path today. This is the path that the sun is said to take through this site. So you can see how this would be the 90-degree angle that goes straight across. This is this little area. If you can, to the left, there's the 4 pillars that are standing to the top left corner. That's where the sun rises on solstice, and that's where something else happens. And then so this path that we see with the yellow line is actually the pictures that I'm showing you, where the sun's going through those 2 big blocks. So let's get back to the winter solstice picture, so we can just start to connect in. I put it, hold on guys. Thank you for your patience with me and my computer. Oh, you know, let's just connect to this one. This is a really pretty photo. I'm having a little bit of computer problems. Sorry, just give me 1 second, guys. That's how you know you're doing something good, when your technology starts to fail. I got up this morning and my computer wouldn't even start. So I thought it was pretty cool that I was like, all right, I might have just spent my whole month preparing for this, and then it started. So thank you. But then I just laughed because I knew Spirit was kind of reminding me that technology does often fail when we're pushing the limits of something new. So let me find this picture I want to share with you one more time. Thank you for your patience. Here we go. Okay. Share, and we'll get into our practice for today. So let's just make sure everybody's muted. If anybody, just make sure to check that we're all muted so that we can just sort of drop in. So we're at this time right now of reflection. And this time to the Celts and the pagans and the Druids was really a time of reflection. And what I want to invite us to do is, we're gathering right more near sunrise for at least many of us in the Northern Hemisphere, is to reflect about where we've been this year on our personal journey, where we've been as a collective humanity existing on this planet, what we've all collectively lived this year, this cycle of time, which is how they see it. And I just want to invite us, I'm going to put my silly furry hat on because I just want to make sure I'm warm. So pardon me for looking like an Eskimo for the rest of this, but I want to invite us to reflect on where we've been, personally and collectively. And this is a very powerful day, as we'll get to for the rest of the offerings, but we know we're all gathered because we know at some point there's more to it than what we've been living. There's more to it than our collective shows us is valuable. And this sun, as it rises, is here to remind us of just that. I don't know if you had the chance to do the sunrise meditation, but the idea is the light that comes from the sun is so powerful. We need it to survive. We can feel it warm our bodies. We can sense it warm the body of Mother Earth. And it's a time where I believe, at least in some small part, that humans gathered to remember these things, to remember their connection to the stars, to remember that they are more than this body, and that there's so many mysteries that are waiting to be revealed to us. And for those of us who are gathering on the darkest day of the year, we are welcoming in the light of the sun. For those of us who are gathering in the Southern Hemisphere on the brightest day of the year, we are starting to begin the process of transformation. Both of those processes are relevant right now. And so let's just take a moment to close our eyes. And truly, this is a day of going inward. Go inside and just see if you can connect to that part of you that has been not just unwavering or unshaken by everything in our world, but that has been knowing the wisdom, the soul part of you that's just kind of said, aha, we're on the right path. See if you can find that wise soul that's just lived so many lifetimes that can look at this human existence and smile knowing that this is the path of true potential. And as you let's next connect to the sun, whether you want to turn to face the sun, either in your mind's eye, or you can turn to face. I'll turn my camera a little bit more just to greet the sun with this beautiful Mama Oak tree right here. Connecting to this light, connecting to this source of wisdom and energy. And I would like to offer that the sun gives us so much more than just warmth on our skin. That the sun, I've mentioned in previous broadcasts, communicates light codes and information from places like Sirius. So there's information codes coming through right now. And I would like to invite us to prepare ourselves to receive and to just simply be the conduit. In this path of ascension, this path of awakening, one of the things we're stepping away from is the separateness, the way that we've been making things more complicated, the way that many of our ancient ancestors and our native tribes today know that it is so simple, and they were denigrated for their simplicity. And we as a collective are needing to get back to this simplicity. So the simplicity of existing on the body of Mother Earth and receiving light and heat and warmth and information from the sun, and then just simply being a conduit today and every day. But it makes it more simple, where we don't have to go do anything. There's nothing for you to purchase. Everybody, please make sure you're muted. There's nothing to purchase, there's nothing to do. There's just simply to be this conduit. So as we prepare to receive, I have my ceremonial drum here, and I'm going to play to the direction of the east, as this is where the sun's rising. And see if you can just simply set the intention for right now, for today, to be this conduit of light. And that is in the general larger idea of seeding the planet with light and love, and being that conduit where all we need to do is to exist and to focus our consciousness, on the light and the love that is present. So, breathing in through the nose and releasing through the mouth.
That's a meditation.
And breathing in through the nose just a couple more times. Releasing.
these rooms are so dark, you definitely don't need an eye mount. Okay. It's muted though, right? So they can't hear.
Receiving light and sending it down through your feet, down into Mother Earth. And exhaling. So sound carries information as well. We have these codes of light coming in from the sun. We are the conduits. We are the ones whose consciousness on this day can choose to see light and love. And the sounds that we just heard from just an old shamanic drum are cleansing, are purifying, and are empowering. And I hope that you could feel that. So in the idea of returning to simplicity, returning to simpler, more profound ways of being, let's once again go inside. Go back inside to that part of you that I mentioned earlier that was unshaken by anything that transpired in this past year, that just knew, this is the path of transformation. See if you can find that aspect of yourself. And see now if there's anything that's ready first to be released. Your wise self is here. Your human self has lived a whole year being transformed. If there's anything that's ready to be released, now is also a wonderful time to just exhale it away. We are collectively going through a process of transformation on our planet. We are individually each carrying something for the collective that as we heal it, as we resolve it for the whole. So our burdens, our wounds, our hot points, the things that bug us, when we finally resolve them, we shift the vibration that we're sending out, and we do shift it for the collective. So it's less of an ego thing, it's more of a service thing. So see if you can just, if there's anything to release right now. Your wise self is here. The sun is present, the earth is present. I've called all four directions in before we started this call. They're here. What are you ready to release? And just exhale, send it out. And then as this time, as we're calling in more light, see if there's something you want to seed, and maybe just simply and profoundly what you want to seed is this sense of being a conduit, this sense of being a transformer, a being that whose consciousness is so powerful. We'll get to that in the Egypt section later today, but our consciousness is so powerful, and all we need to do is point our consciousness somewhere, and that's the moment when we create. So potentially, I would like to offer that as something profound and simple for us to seed today, more essential now than ever. But if there's anything else that you want to seed, now is the time as we gather in circle at the start of this beautiful solstice holiday and sacred day for many other reasons, as we'll explore through our journey together today. And potentially, even if we do nothing else today, just to consider that every moment we think to receive light, take it in and send it down into the earth so as to rebalance, so as to heal. So we've taken a lot and we've unbalanced as a collective. So what we're seeking to do right now is to seed light and love, because that's what's needed. That's what our calling is. Potentially, that's why we were born, for this moment. Everything else that happened this year and the last however many years of our lives has brought us here. We're here now. This is what we're doing. This might be the most important thing that we've done yet. And there's likely more important things for us to be attending to in the future, but now, this moment is our now. So just a little bit more time experiencing ourselves as this conduit. Anything else you want to seed? And as I offered, potentially just the understanding and the being able to walk and breathe and be and exist in this way. Also, not out of fear, out of love, out of vision, out of soul's calling, that wise part of you that's been unfazed, that just knows the power of you, the power of the collective, the power of transformation, the power of light and love. And now, as we're gathered in ceremony, I'm going to light some frankincense, some rosemary, some sage, some sacred herbs to allow the plant spirits that are in this sacred space where I'm seated now, and also just to allow any other sacred spirits that might be yours to come in right now. As we are in this process of transformation, fire is a element of transformation. So we're going to call on fire here to support us in seeding this bright new future. So sage to help us clear, to purify us, all those things that we're ready to release. This plant element is wise and able to help us release. And rosemary for protection, for love, for abundance and well-being. Because this process of transformation, one of the things that we are going to remember is that it is joyful. We as a collective have humanity's forgotten how to exist in joyful abundance of right relationship. So this rosemary is here to help us with that endeavor. And the frankincense is burning, the incense is fueling this fire. The sweetgrass that native populations use to call in the spirits of light, any other helping spirits, any other beings that are present right now, whether they're our ancestors or from other places, just to, while we alone can do this, only to support us, to be with us, to guide us on this journey. And I'm just going to let that burn. And I'm going to stop this share of this sacred space, Stonehenge, where I will put a link in the notes in case you want to watch. There was a heritage organization that did a broadcast, so you can watch the sunrise at Stonehenge. But I finally just want to show you this altar down here. This is the altar that I made for our Solstice Gathering today. You can see there's tons of selenite and rose quartz, which were the two. There's also fire quartz and some heart stones from Sedona, because we're so stepping in to seed the planet with light, to heal the planet. And well, we're actually right about close. We have just a couple more minutes. I don't know if anybody has anything they'd like to say or share. Probably best to do it in chat since there's a large group. And for next time, I've just read the notes. I'm going to figure out how to mute everybody in the next 5 minutes. So there are separate Zoom calls just so that we can have unique gatherings and unique recordings. So the final passcode's the same, but you'll find on the website that the next gathering, Nancy says, thank you for this blessings. You are welcome. Thank you all for being here. You know, we're doing it. This is amazing. And I will post this recording whenever I can get to it later on today and tomorrow. And I hope to see you all in about 5 minutes. Melissa says, thank you. It's beautiful and you have wonderful energy. Dottie and Gail says, thank you, blessings and light. Oh my gosh. Well, the energy is coming through me. That's the other thing I wanted to share. Okay, wait, we're not done. There was a thing about us being the conduit that Melissa, you just reminded me of. In energy healing, you learn when we step into being a conduit, you know, the extra special karmic bonus is that you receive everything you channel. So we get all the light too. Not that we're doing this because we're trying to grab all the light, but when we actually step into this act of service, this act of being a channel, consciously choosing to spend our time to bring in light, to send out love. Can you feel that right now? Can you feel how your body just lit up and received? And it's as if we're a pipeline of energy. You know, that's how we flow our energy. So thank you, Melissa, for that little reminder. Okay, everybody. Everyone says thank you, thank you, thank you. Look at all this. Yeah, girl. Yes, thank you. I love you guys. Love and blessings. Thank you for all the good comments. And I will post this and we'll see each other, gosh, in about 3 minutes. I will see you very soon. Okay.